Thank you for joining me this Sunday morning for Intersections. I'm Mamie Bah. Here's what you can expect.
I have a dream.
Words etched into American history, spoken in front of hundreds of thousands at Lincoln Memorial.
My four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their
Today
character.
we honor civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., plus the powerful message he shared in Pittsburgh 6 decades ago this year. Also, a tribute to a man whose voice and leadership, from the 60s to modern day, has helped shape the Black Power movement in Pittsburgh. So pull up a chair and meet me at the corner. Intersection starts now. Tomorrow we celebrate and remember the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The third Monday of January is MLK Day. The civil rights leader preached for racial equality, voting rights, labor rights, and so much more. In November of 1966, Dr. King came to Pittsburgh. It was his last visit before his assassination a year and a half later. 60 years ago this year, the University of Pittsburgh Student Union was filled wall to wall, students packed in, waiting to hear one of the most powerful voices of a generation. The date, November 2nd, 1966. It was an era when television pictures were grainy and imperfect, but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s message came through clear.
And the fact that many Negroes feel that they have to go into service to deal with their economic problem means that we've got to go all out to solve the economic problem.
That day, Dr. King spoke about racial equality, the growing Black Power movement, and a war raging half a world away in Vietnam. Attendees felt the weight of his words.
There is a disproportionate number of Negroes in Vietnam. That is a fact. The Negro is 10% or 11% of the population, and at times he's 40% of the combat.
Dr. King believed Black men were fighting for freedoms abroad they didn't have here at home, acts to defend a democracy that didn't fully include them.
I think finally it is necessary to say that one of the things our country preserves is the right to be a conscientious objector.
My guest today was in the crowd. In fact, he was Dr. King's ride from what is now Pittsburgh International Airport. The founder of the Black Political Empowerment Project, Tim Stevens, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How did you get the gig to be King's chauffeur?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, I'm a member of the Alpha Alpha fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Dr. King was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Our theme was, first of all, servants of all, we transcend all. And he certainly emulated that theme of a mission of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. I happened to be a vice president in the Pittsburgh chapter, Omicron chapter at the time, and some of us from the fraternity, I can't remember how we were asked to do it, to be honest, but we went out to the airport to pick up Dr. King.
And what was that like when he got in the car? What was that moment like?
Well, first of all, we didn't have a fancy car or anything. Now, what's funny when you look back, if that were today, if we didn't have one, we'd find a fancy car or rent it or whatever. And the one thing that I remember was he was very low-key about, well, where's my Cadillac or where's my Lincoln, whatever. None of that. None of that kind of attitude, not at all, which was pretty cool. A man as famous as he was at the time and influential as he was. So it was an honor to
take that stand on the basis of conscience.
Have opportunity to
Selective Service Act gives
take him to the airport.
Were you starstruck?
I had to be. I mean, you're with Dr. King, you know, at the time, and one of the most recognized human beings on the planet, really, and one of the key leaders of the Black community in America. So, and one of the greatest orators of all time.
Yeah. And what was it like being in that room while he spoke at the University of Pittsburgh?
Well, the atmosphere was energetic, and honestly, I can't remember what his theme was. It's been so many years we're talking about.
Yeah,
66 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've watched a little of his speeches over the years in different locations, and I don't think anyone was ever disappointed from the energy, the passion, the commitment that he projected, and the needs that he projected for us as human beings to emulate. And when I was executive director of the NAACP, I had a Martin Luther King picture behind me. And in my home, I have an original painting of Dr. King in my living room. So he remains with me, and one to emulate in terms of his commitment to black people and to this country.
Yeah. Is that what you remember most about Dr. King?
Just his impact, his power, his oratorical skills to move people, his huge commitment to black people, putting himself in very dangerous situations and handling it.
Yeah, and I know at that time you were a Pitt student. What were you studying? What was your major?
Political science.
Yeah.
My minor was sociology. Now, at the time, in the early 60s, so that means I'm an older person.
Wisdom.
That's a good way to look at it. My major was political science, not knowing that years later I would initiate a project called the Black Political Empowerment Project, May 21st, 1986, 20 years after being in the presence of Dr. King.
Yeah, we're going to get into more of that later.
Sure.
But did he inspire you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think after his death, I actually organized the first commemorations of his death in Pittsburgh at Shinley High School, where I went in the early 60s as a student. So I coordinated the first commemorations of Dr. King in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Did that for a few years.
Yeah. Where were you when you learned of the assassination of Dr. King?
I was, along with some fraternity brothers, at Chatham College. We were there. I don't remember why. We were there to talk to students.
But what did you...
And when this happened, we converted the conversation to our reactions to the death of Dr. King. And little did I know, in the audience was a professor from the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs. And he was so impressed by how I facilitated an unexpected conversation, he offered me a scholarship, a fellowship, on the spot. So I owe my graduate degree, in a way, to Dr. King. I mean, that was just an interesting situation, unexpected. So I kind of owe Dr. King something, and I've tried to live my life that way in terms of commitment to the African-American community particularly.
Yeah, you can tell he really had a profound impact on you and even the current work that you do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so we're going to head to commercial, but we still have more ahead with Mr. Stevens here. We'll talk about the founding of B-PEP and the new leadership. Welcome back to Intersections. We're continuing our conversation with Tim Stevens. After nearly 4 decades of leadership, Mr. Stevens is stepping down as chair of the Black Political Empowerment Project. Since 1986, the activist has been at the helm of B-PEP, guiding its mission to advance civic engagement, voter empowerment, and equitable representation in the Pittsburgh region. So starting out, Mr. Stevens, tell me a little bit about how it all started. Before B-PEP, you were head of the NAACP. Talk to us.
Well, actually, I was executive director of the NAACP in the early 70s, 70, 74. B-PEP we initiated in 86. I had been a vice president in between of the NAACP. I became president of NAACP in '94. So when B-PEP started, it was actually years before I became president. I was president for 10 years. It may confuse people. And clarification, I stepped down as chair, but I remain as CEO, the day-to-day operator of B-PEP. It has confused people. People walk up to me and say, "What are you going to do?" Or,
Yes,
"Can't
yes.
believe you're stepping." I said, I've stepped down as chair of the Planning Council, but I continue as CEO on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Did you always know that you wanted to do this? You wanted to make this your career?
Well, one thing I've always had somewhat of a flair for are slogans and language issues. When I was president of president of my student council in Shinley High School. And one day when I was speaking to, I think 1,200 students in the auditorium, I came up with, "We are the Golden Triangle, the second Golden Triangle of Pittsburgh," because Shinley High School is in the form, well, it no longer exists as a school. It's in the form of a triangle. And one of my statements was, "Ask not what Shinley can do for you, but what you can do for Shinley." So I was picking up on the John
Nice.
Kennedy thing. So even as a teenager, I had a thing about using language to communicate.
Inspired.
And our mission of African Americans vote in each and every election. And the other mission that we vote in each and every election, which is more inclusive, is something that has caught on. And even our immediate past mayor, Ed Gainey, was mentioning just weeks ago that he thought that was one of the coolest marketing concepts that anyone has come up with, that we vote in each and every election, and African Americans vote in each and every election. And my theory was, if black people did that, the power we would have. Think about it. And you don't have to be rich. You could be in public housing, or you could be a millionaire. You have one vote. And if we all used our votes, we would have an impact that we couldn't even imagine today. And one of the things we've talked about in recent months is how can we, our first slogan was, if you're black, you're registered. If you're black, you vote in each and every election. And we've talked about in recent months, how can we communicate to black people in a way that we get that message that we define ourselves as a voting people? Literally, as black people, we define in other words, if you're not voting, you're not really black. We define ourselves, regardless of our differences and shades of color, in income and education. We are black and we're voting.
Yeah,
and we can impact the political process.
And you've used a lot of your time to continue to spread all these messages throughout the years.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
When you started B-PEP, when you founded it, what was that like for you?
I was in a landmark forum, or a series of, I think we had 10 courses, 10 weeks of a course in different subjects. This was excellence. And we were asked to create a project around a complaint. And if you look at our anti-violence document at the bottom, it says moving from complaint to possibility, from planning to implementation. Quite often, we as black people stay in complaint. We have a lot to complain about. But if you stay in complaint, you're taking your power away. You're powerless people. If all you do is complain about what other folks did to you or what other folks are doing to us. We must take the complaint and move it to possibilities of what can we move from this negative to a positive, and how do we plan ahead, or how do we plan to get it done, and how do we implement? And if we create ourselves, and as we move to the midterms, those who are upset about what's going on in this country, how we change it, we mobilize, we implement our commitment, and we're at the polling place, and we make sure people in our family, people in our neighborhoods, people in our circles know the power that we have that we're not using, that we could use, and could create a whole new America,
Yeah,
and
so,
a whole new Black America.
yeah, so you started it to basically mobilize you.
Yes.
I'm going.
And the funny thing was, I was in this course I was in was mainly white people. And we all stood up and announced our project. Now, most people maybe had enough sense to end the project after 10 weeks. The 10 weeks were spread out, but it was a 10-week course. Now we're going on into we're going to our 41st year of existence. Unfortunately, Black people are not voting in each and every election, so we have a lot of work yet to do.
Yeah. And so we're going to pause on that note. We still have more ahead. Coming up, we're talking about passing the torch. We'll meet the new chair and vice chair of B-PEP and see what's ahead for the future. Joining Mr. Stevens and I for this part of the conversation, the new chair of B-PEP, Lorraine Cross, and vice chair Dalen Davis. Thank you all for being with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Starting out, tell me a little bit about how you all got started within the organization and how you're feeling.
Well, growing up, I used to always see Tim on TV. He was always on the front lines, so I always did admire him. I was the chair of the African Heritage Month Federal Executive Board Committee, and so I needed a speaker for Black History Month. And so this was about 2004, correct? Mm-hmm. And so this was right after Tim lost the election to NAACP. And he's like, you don't want me to speak. Are you sure you want me? I'm not the new president of NAACP. And I was just excited just to, I mean, you know, this is like my hero, you know, I'm like my icon in the community, you know, I got it. So I was excited to be able to have him come and speak. And so from that point on, I've been a part of B-PEP and, you know, really learned to love and admire Tim, so.
Well, she's been a blessing to me and to us.
Yes. Mr. Davis?
Thank you.
Yep. I met Mr. Stevens when I was the president of the NAACP. He became my mentor. We met through a mutual friend, Shadina Harper, who introduced me to him. From that point on, you know, it's been a real privilege to be able to work alongside him and to learn from him during that entire process. So when I came over to B-PEP, and I was grateful and honored when he asked for me to become his vice chair since he was stepping down.
Yeah, how does it feel now taking on these new roles? What do you guys hope to see for the future of B-PEP?
Well, you know, one thing that Tim has been pushing is the intergenerational, you know, the new future of B-PEP. And so it's exciting, you know, to have more youth involved, you know, so we'll be able to hand over, you know, the whole ideas and the structures to make sure that B-PEP is carried on in the future. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Davis?
I'm excited to work alongside Ms. Lorraine as the new chair, and my continued relationship with Mr. Stevens to bring the organization into some modern, and also just attract some of the youth that are, you know, yearning to really try to find their advocacy voice, especially in these trying times that we see in our country.
Yeah, if any of those kids are watching, what do you want to say to them?
You know, there's a place here at B-PEP where your voice matters, your perspective matters. We need your voice, especially more than ever, especially nowadays. As we know, we have change of administration here locally. We see what's going on around the country as it relates to ICE. We see a federal administration that continues to erode the civil rights that have been advocated for more than a decade. So now is the time for those voices and to come learn from the past. You know, history repeats itself. And how do we move forward? By understanding what has come, but also working collaboratively together, intergenerationally, to be a brighter future.
Yeah. How does it make you feel hearing all this, Mr.
Well, I'm humbled by their comments, and they're sweet people. One of the things we were talking about how we operate. We were on the phone yesterday together, and we've been blessed. For 40 years, we have a moment or two now and then, but for 40 years, we hardly ever have like negative interactions with each other. And that's not necessarily commonplace with organizations. And I value that. And we want to value that. We want to continue that. And so we get work done, but we laugh a lot. When we have our planning council meetings, we always laugh. Yet we get work done and we talk about very serious stuff, right? That are issues that are impacting us, impacting our families, impacting our future, impacting how we feel. And now, as Dalen mentioned, stuff that I fought for my entire civil rights life, and those in my age bracket are being challenged. Not are being, have been challenged, have been eroded, stuff that I personally felt were permanent. Like the 65 Voting Rights Act, to be honest, I think a whole lot of people thought it was permanent.
Yeah.
But we know, with this administration particularly, it is not.
Yeah. And do you think, and I ask you, Ms. Cross, do you think this makes the work that you all do even more important now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as Tim said, you know, here we are thinking that the work that we worked on, you know, marching in the streets, standing and fighting, we thought that, you know, that work was solidified and concrete. Right. And we've gone backwards. We've gone backwards. So it's really important that, you know, we stand to protect and to grow Black political power in the city.
Yeah, thank you all so much, and thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Stevens.
absolutely.
You've done so much work, and
thank you. Listen,
I think I speak for many when I say you've inspired generations and generations of people.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
Like
That's
Dr. King.
Listen, call us, 412-212-8775, and get involved. So we're always looking for people. Intergenerational leadership. You want to get involved. If you're young, you're middle-aged, young adult, whatever.
Great. Thank you so much.
Come involved. Get involved.
Thank you so much. I'll have my last word when we come back. I want to thank you all for watching Intersections this month. If you have something you would like us to cover, please send me an email. My email is at the bottom of your screen, mamie.bah@cbs.com. Also, Black History Month is a couple of weeks away. If you have anything or anyone you would like us to spotlight, please send over those ideas as well. We'll see you next time on Intersections. Thank you.